Good morning and welcome to Michigan Farm and Garden. I'm Jody Pollock-Newsome and I'm your host. On the show this morning, we're going to talk about soybeans as livestock feed. We're also going to have an interview about breakfast on the farm, and we're going to celebrate a neat milestone. Stay tuned. Good morning, and again, welcome to Michigan Farm and Garden. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the show last week. We were out at Ag Expo. I had to think for a second. We were out at Ag Expo, and it's probably still the heat from that week that's still kind of there and still kind of lingering. Very, very neat event, but as always, super duper hot. And we have an interview that we were able to shoot out there with Nancy Thalen talking about breakfast on the farm. So we'll be sharing that with you this morning, giving you a little bit about numbers, about the events that have happened, and then sharing with you some of the events that are coming up pretty quick. So you want to make sure that you get those on your calendar. If you've not been to a modern farm, a great opportunity to be able to go out and to be able to learn more. Then, thanks to our sponsorship from Michigan soybean farmers and the Soybean Promotion Committee, we have the opportunity to go out and see soybeans in action as a livestock feed at a turkey operation. So as always, it's nice to get out and actually see the farm. Then we are going to do a little celebration, and I guess I'm just going to kind of make it a self-proclaimed celebration. This weekend marks me wrapping up my 12th year as hosting the Michigan Farm and Garden Show. So we'll be ready to start number 13 and look forward to a really good year. But in order to help celebrate that, we do have a montage that was put together to talk a little bit and really show you some of the different activities, kind of show you how the show has changed and give you some information. So folks, I also want to make sure I take the opportunity and thank you so much for all the support. Through all the past years when we aired up in the Thumb area, then we got the opportunity to go statewide with the show and air across the state, and now the opportunities that we're looking at, and I'm looking to see what we can do to even be able to get on more stations in the future. So thank you so much for your support. Also, as tradition, we will wrap up the show with a recipe utilizing zucchini. We know it's in season. A lot of us have it everywhere. So I'm going to tell you what you need to do and how you can go ahead and utilize it. And we will be back with our first segment right after the Michigan Farm and Garden Fact of the Week.
It's time for the Michigan Farm and Garden Fact of the Week.
This week marks the end of Jody's 12th year hosting the Michigan Farm and Garden Show. The show began more than 30 years ago up in the Thumb area of the state by the Bay County Farm Bureau. After many years and many hosts, Jody was asked to fill in for a month. The show was able to secure grant funds to be broadcast to a wider audience, and after the grant was completed, many commodity organizations got on board as sponsors to help support the show. For more information, as always, go to MichiganFarmandGarden.com. We always appreciate certainly the sponsorship that we have. Our sponsorship has been through the commodity organizations in our state that are really funded by the state's farmers. So there's a lot of things, a lot of organizations called checkoffs, where farmers actually say that as we sell our crop, we want to give some money to an organization, and that organization will use those funds for research, education, and market development for that commodity. We've been very, very lucky to have the Michigan Soybean Promotion Committee as a very long time sponsor and supporter of the show. And now, thanks to them and their support, we have the opportunity to take you on a little trip to a turkey farm.
The business of raising turkeys is strong in Michigan, thanks in part to Sietsema Farms of Allendale. The family farms are owned and operated by Rick Sietsema, his father Harley, and other partners, raising 1.3 million birds per year.
Sietsema Farms started back with my grandfather probably about 50 years ago. He was a dairyman in the Allendale, Michigan area. Raised a family of 4 sons and 2 daughters. The family ran the dairy farm at that time. Upon his retirement, different brothers got into agriculture in different directions. My dad got interested in farming back on the original farm, family farm, but didn't want to be in the dairy business in particular. So he started a turkey farm for Bill Maher Foods back in those days. From there, we've grown our turkey production. We're now a part of the Michigan Turkey Producers Co-op in Michigan that finishes 4.5 million turkeys a year. We raise a little over 1 million turkeys ourselves. We also raise about 500,000 head of swine annually in the state of Michigan. And we've just kind of grown from that dairy farm back in the 30s and 40s and 50s to the current operation where we now have 3 generations working in our offices and on the various farms.
As one of Michigan's largest turkey producers, Sietzemas has a positive impact on the state's soybean growers, for they purchase 24,000 tons of soybean meal annually from Zeeland Farm Services. 40% is fed to their birds, with the rest to their swine, in all accounting for the production of close to 170 average Michigan soybean farmers. Harold Punter is Sietzemas' turkey livestock production manager and has been part of the family, so to speak, for the past 30 years.
These birds today are fed to the optimum growth, and I mean by that the feed is to match the age of the bird. So our feed has like 16 different recipes, so that's why their growth has increased tremendously, and also that we're on a pelleted feed now, and what that does, every bite they take, it has all the trace minerals, all the protein and the energy needs to put forth to growing.
The feed mixture comes from 2 mills Sietzemas operate, one in Ravenna and one in Howard City. Those 2 facilities, along with farms in 5 counties, give a big boost to the economy as Sietzemas provide over 200 full-time jobs. Rick Rose is mill manager at Sietzemas Farm Feeds in Howard City. He oversees the production of 24 different recipes of feed, depending on the animal's age.
Each recipe contains corn and soybean meal and wheat. We take those products and we grind them to a particular micron size, and we run them through our pellet mill, which takes that mash and forces it through a die with 26,000 holes in it, and it turns it into a pellet. In our pelleting process, we have a post-pelleting, what we call a fat application. It's recycled vegetable oil, and we're currently using about 50,000 pounds of recycled vegetable oil every day. And what we do is we spray that on the pellet after it's been manufactured to increase the calorie count for the animal.
Along with the creation of feed pellets at the Howard City Mill, Sietzemas made a substantial investment into a gasification system that turns turkey litter into electricity and steam to run the facility. And the ash from the burned litter is rich in minerals that can be used as a supplement in the feed. And so they've created an environmental loop, per se, just another part of their commitment to their already environmentally verified farms.
My family eats the same turkey and pork product coming out of the grocery store as my neighbors do, and I find that very important that we raise a high quality product that's safe for the consumer, and that we show that we don't try to hide anything, and we're open and honest about how we bring the product to market.
Michigan's turkeys consume 32,000 tons of soybean meal annually. That's the meal from nearly 1.4 million bushels of soybeans, a fact not lost on the United Soybean Board and its farmer-supported checkoff program.
Like soybean farmers, U.S. turkey producers work hard to provide the world with safe, affordable, and nutritious food. The soybean checkoff funds research, education, and promotional efforts to help support animal agriculture, including efforts that focus on improving the nutritional value of U.S. soybean meal to meet the needs of turkey producers. Soybeans serve as one of the main protein supplements for turkey feed. As a soybean farmer, I am proud I produce this beneficial feed source. Together with the checkoff, we help ensure a safe and nutritious product from our farm to your family's plate.
You can learn more about the connection between crop production and animal agriculture by logging on to animalag.org. And there's a lot more to learn about the soybean industry in Michigan by logging on to michigansoybean.org.
The Cherry Marketing Institute wants you to know about tart cherries. Cherry's red color comes from powerful antioxidants. Available year-round, it's easy to incorporate cherries into your daily diet. Visit choosecherries.com.
Michigan's 1,000 apple growers take pride in producing delicious apples from one generation to the next. From the Great Lakes come great flavors. Look for locally grown Michigan apples.
Have Jody speak at your next agricultural event. Go to jodylive.com.
And welcome back here to Ag Expo. We are here with Nancy Thielen. Nancy, good to see you again in this nice hot weather.
Yes, good to see you.
Well, and we want to talk breakfast on the farm. You guys are here with a great display and lots of interested folks.
Right, we brought just a handful of our displays out here to show folks, to give them a little bit of a sampling of the types of key messages that we try to get across to consumers when they do visit one of our Breakfast on the Farm programs.
And what have you really seen as far as like reception from consumers?
Just at the Breakfast on the Farms with that, they're just, it's amazing the increase in knowledge that they have had as a result, you know, prior to coming to a Breakfast on the Farm and then afterwards. And our biggest increase continued. We've summarized the ones from the June 15th event, and big increases again in cow housing, their opinion that the farmer's doing the right thing with cow housing, as well as with milk safety and milk quality. Folks are very surprised to learn that all of their the milk is tested before it goes to the milk plant. They're just, the whole process is just amazing to them. They just really don't have an idea anymore of how milk gets from a cow to the grocery store.
Well, and when we look at technology, you know, a lot of times we don't think when you just look at the changes of your vehicle or the changes in your phone, really, we've had that same revolution in agriculture.
Oh, absolutely, and it doesn't matter, everything from new ways for heat detection, for breeding the cows, all the way through to the milking parlors and the advances in that. People just really don't realize what everything, you know, how things have changed over the years and what farmers do. The whole tractors and farm equipment and GPS is a whole nother area that just amazes folks. They just, you know, just are truly amazed after they learn about that.
Well, and I think it's so neat for you guys to do the Breakfast on the Farm events, because folks, if you don't know a farmer, or if your grandpa or your great-grandpa was a farmer, to go see it now, it's just so different, and most people day in and day out don't get that chance.
Oh, absolutely. Interestingly enough, we had 3,100 visitors at the St. Clair County event at the Reed Dairy Farm. 52% of those had not been on a modern dairy working farm in at least the last 20 years, and another 30% had only been on a farm once or twice. So, you know, definitely reaching folks that want to know more about agriculture and learn where their food comes from.
Well, and I even think, you know, my dad grew up on a dairy farm. That was a long time ago. We had beef cattle when I grew up, but even talking with him about the robotic milkers and things like that, you know, even folks who know agriculture, there's a lot of new technology.
Oh, we get so many comments on the surveys about things have changed so much since I was a young boy, and you know, many people come that are in that same, you know, just have been out of farming for years or out of dairy, you know, for many, many years, and everything has changed so much, and they're just amazed, you know, with that. But it has to keep up with the times and with technology in order to remain efficient.
Well, and I think too, as we look at you and talk about some of the efficiencies, really the strides the farmers have made, and it seems like a time when folks really want to know what's going on in agriculture, how does this work, and people seem a little more tuned in and really interested.
Oh, absolutely, and it's always amazing which exhibits seem to hit a point with folks. Probably one of our most popular and yet the simplest is one that shows the progress in the milk that's produced by a cow. In 1940, she produced 2 gallons of milk a day, and today the average is 8 gallons of milk. And we just show that with the poles with gallons of milk on it or empty gallon milk jugs on it, and people are amazed. That seems to be put up on Facebook a lot as far as this is what I learned, and you know, I can't believe how far, you know, dairy business has come in 60 or 70 years. So it's, you know, we take that for granted, all as a way of agriculture as we continue to raise more and better products, and the average consumer just never thinks about that.
Yeah, we're so lucky. We always have food. We always have an abundance. It's always safe when we look at what goes on here in our state, and it really is easy to take that for granted.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, and I have to say, I was one of the people too, folks. I was looking at that display because just the visual with those milk containers, that just says so much more than words just to be able to get out and look.
Right, that's sometimes one of our hardest parts of, is trying to get a good visual for some of those to show the progress, that every industry has made, every facet of agriculture.
Well, and I think as we talk about that and you talk about the actual visuals, there's a lot of stuff on the internet, there's lots of information everywhere, but to be able to go to a breakfast on the farm and talk with the people that are in production agriculture and ask them what they do, I mean, that's just information that you can't really get anywhere else, and you're right there talking to the farmer.
Oh, absolutely. We were just talking about that last Saturday in Ottawa County, and someone asked me why this is so popular and why we do these and don't just tell people about it at some other spot. And I said, it takes all avenues to do that, but the whole idea of experiencing something is just where the value of the breakfast on the farm is. We can tell them with cow housing how comfortable the cows are in those freestall barns, but until they walk from 90 degrees into 70 degrees, they don't experience it, and it feels like a beach as they're walking through the barn and everything. And they just can't unless they experience this. They don't realize what that difference is. So, they just many comments back about being able to visit with the farmers, to ask the farmers questions. They just their confidence level in farmers, their trust level in farmers increases, and it's just a real critical point for agriculture to get their word out.
Well, and I think too, we know everybody wants quick answers. The internet has all kinds of information, but to have that linkage, and I think for the farmer, for them to have that time, because farmers are usually so busy. If you have a dairy, you have to milk 2 or 3 times a day. If you're a crop farmer, especially this time of year, you're out there, you're busy. So it is a neat opportunity to be able to bring all the volunteers together, get kind of in that schedule, and get those two groups together to be able to talk.
Oh, absolutely, and we're so thankful for the many volunteers. It takes us at least 200 volunteers to put on one of the events. We had 300 in St. Clair County, a little over 200 in Ottawa County, and just really appreciate each and every one of them for doing that. And so many different positions that we need to fill and responsibilities to cover. So any folks that are listening that might be interested in helping, we'd love to hear from you.
Well, and for folks, we're talking about this again because the schedule's not over. There are still more events to come.
Absolutely. Our next one is August 17th at the Hum Farm in Breckenridge up in Gratiot County. That's a crops farm. We'll also have a few animals in to teach about animal agriculture as well, but they have some neat displays planned and really thoroughly covering the whole arena of crops all the way to the end product. The next one is September 7th up at Black Locust Farms in Montcalm County, the Jepson family at Stanton. And that's a dairy farm, and we have another great event planned there. And our final one for this year will be September 21st at Ferry Farms, which is in Hillsdale County, and they're located just outside of Litchfield.
Oh, great. And are they crop, livestock?
They're dairy also.
Great opportunities, and Nancy, we appreciate all you've done because these events have really just become quite the events and such a family event. I think that too is so important.
Oh, absolutely. It's just, many times we see 3 generations there, and they're just all so involved, and the thank you notes the families get, the comments that we receive about what a wonderful experience it is. And I always like to remember the one thank you note last year from a young child, judging from the printing on it, but he or she said, I learned more in 2 hours than I can learn in a whole week of school. So I think that says it all, but they're having a great time and learning at the same time, and it can't get any better than that. So.
Well, Nancy, thank you so much. We so appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Folks, you certainly hear, you know that we in agriculture are very, very proud of the job that we do. I think you can hear that from some of the stories. If you've not had the opportunity to get out there and experience modern agriculture, make sure you visit the website, MichiganFarmingGarden.com. I will link to Breakfast on the Farm, and you can get the schedule. Get out there, take the family, take the multi-generations, and learn more about production agriculture. I think you will be a little more proud, too, of the farmers that we have here in our state. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after this message.
is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
And again, folks, I just wanted to thank you so much for all the help and all the support over the past 12 years. It has been a wonderful opportunity to host the show and to get to know so many of you and to bring information about Michigan agriculture, especially as we know it is such an important industry here in our state. So sit back, relax, and enjoy what we've done the last years.
Welcome to Farm and Garden, a look at agriculture around the state.
Good morning and welcome to the Farm and Garden Show. And we have a little bit of explaining to do here. You probably recognize that Becky isn't here. And Jody Pollock has decided, after we talked a little bit, that she'd really like to be on the Farm and Garden Show.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to Michigan Farm and Garden.
I'm Jody Pollock. And I'm Jody Pollock Newsom. We have a great show for you this morning. This past year has gone so fast.
It has. It absolutely has.
Agriculture has been the bright spot where innovators have found ways to persevere and to make such a positive economic gain for the state and employment in the state. It's really something that we're proud of and something we want to build around.
That's why everybody's here, is because of farming and crops and everything, so that's what they're looking forward to.
DeFonso says the producers may be tempted to spray for aphids.
There's one grower in the southwestern part of the state who says he had this in his fields in 1999.
In the 1990s, we started promoting ethanol as not only a race fuel, but also as a good fuel for the public. Although in 1990, because of the price of gas, nobody could care less about ethanol. Yeah, it was a neat thing. Yeah, okay, maybe someday. But finally, that time has come.
We enjoy the state of Michigan, but I think there's some real opportunities,
and we take pride in this product because it goes way back in history as far as dealing with my grandmother, my mother, of course, myself.
Yeah, I imagine she's taking a nap somewhere, or still with the brewery guy. Jody, did you find anybody?
No, I just was taking a nap. I thought your stuff was getting a little lame, so I just thought I'd snooze to try to get caught up with you. And you're kind of become that pie maker extraordinaire, kind of. You sent me these awesome recipes.
Yes, it's good to make pie.
If you don't want to get a sore neck or arms from raking, just go back inside and sit down for a while.
Well, and I think that's so important. And I think it's so important, and especially you don't have a lot of time. But I like that idea of go out, try some.
And then it has a white box trim around the hood, but it's a natural gray.
As much as a fashion show as I can do.
Hey, good morning. How are you this morning?
I am great. How are you? It's good to have you here.
February, National Cherry Month, the best month of the year.
It's very, very delicious.
It is. It is. We have people from all over truly the world that come.
You know, I have to tell you, we've had you on a couple weeks, and you just didn't have me through all my chores yet, so you had to be back.
Well, you know, it's that time. We've got to get out there and make things look nice, so why not?
Everybody throws in a hand. Come to, what do you need? We'll go get it. We'll take it off our harness, let you use it. Yeah, it's a non-stop thing. Everybody helps everybody.
And this is our special guest.
Once again, your husband, Brett.
Thank you. It's so glad to have you here. You kind of started this tradition a couple years ago.
A couple years ago, yeah. And then I recall we got engaged on this show. Was this the show?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
By now, you know me as Brett Newsom, or as I'm referred to on this show, Jody Sweetie. I'm here today to talk to you about somebody very special to me. You know her as your host, Jody Pollock. Jody's been an important part of my life and my best friend for more than 2 years now, and she's filled my heart with love and happiness. And I hope today to make that more permanent. It would be a great honor if you would be my wife. Will you marry me?
Absolutely, positively, yes. Thank you, sweetie.
And Jody, guess what I have?
What is a mule?
A mule? My mules are a cross between a Belgian mare, a draft mare, and a mammoth jack. I'd like to tell you also that a little bit background about the mule, why he's sterile.
Took that big loin that we saw, and I cut a few chops off the end.
It's going to be very hard for the tree to start to absorb water again, so you don't want to let it dry out. So it would be pretty important to check it out.
Great, Lee, thanks. Thank you so much. And the biggest request we got was not just for the re-airs of the show, but to know when you got to see our little Rachel. So, co-hosting the show today, we have, as usual, my wonderful husband, Brett, and our little Rachel right here, who is coming in to make her first TV debut. So what do you think of that?
I think it's pretty neat. The future co-host or host of Michigan Farm and Garden.
There you
Starting
go.
young.
There you go. I like the co-host, and you've already bumped me right out to host. Oh, thank you. You too. And Rachel wants us to get right to the recipes because she's been eyeing those cinnamon rolls ever since you made them. Welcome back. You can see I have my awesome assistant here.
And if you have a child at home helping to cook, you know, it might be something to consider that they can use those easier than they could do some of the browning of ground beef or turkey or things like that.
We have worked in so many different ways together.
We have.
For years, and it's great to be on your show.
Certainly when we think of the state, we think of blueberries, such a huge commodity for us here. We're at Ag Expo, an 80-degree day, and we're standing in front of a corn heap.
Can you believe it?
Introduce yourself and then tell us how you came together.
I'm Sue Keekstra, and I'm Sue Keekstra, but my maiden name is Herkner. And I'm Judy Harmon with the maiden name of Herkner. And I am Linda Herkner with the name of Herkner.
About 35–40% of our Navy bean usage each year comes from the state of Michigan.
Be able to write and sing and perform, and so that was a talent, and that was my hobby. Cows and horses was my job. Now I'm writing and performing, and that's my job. And cows and horses is my hobby.
And I look forward to having you back here next weekend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Happy trails to you until we meet again.
This hog is Hanover hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Welcome back, and I hope you enjoy watching that as much as I do. It's really fun to look back over the years at the different hairstyles. I'm not going to talk about the addition of all the wrinkles or the gray hair, but certainly all the changes and all the different things that have happened and all the support through the show. I very, very much appreciate it and look forward to an awesome future with lots of more great information and super recipes. Folks, I don't know about you, but this time of year there is zucchini everywhere. What I do is bring it in, then usually go ahead and shred it, and then I freeze it right in baggies, usually in 1.5 or 2 cups in a baggie, and then you have it throughout the year. Muffins, we all know how to do the muffins. Take your dry ingredients, flour, wheat flour, brown sugar, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt. And then in another bowl, you'll whisk together your eggs, your milk, and your oil. And then stir the zucchini and any nut of your choice. Walnuts usually work good for muffins. Stir those into the egg mixture. Pour those together. Just mix them till they're mixed. Don't overmix. Bake them 375 for 20 minutes. Very, very easy. You can also add carrots or anything like that that you have at that garden. But zucchini really is easy, and these muffins are absolutely delicious. If you'd like to try the recipe, you can visit us online at MichiganFarmandGarden.com or write to Michigan Farm and Garden Recipes, Box 461, Williamston, Michigan 48895. And I think the key is, folks, make sure, get stuff harvested now and get it shredded, get it in those bags, and then you can use it throughout the year. I'll see you back here next weekend. Bye-bye.